Hi everyone, my name's Tony, and if we haven't met, I hope that we do soon, and welcome to my home and the Arkitect video series on nutrition basics. We've decided to make this video because during our consultation process with new clients, we often hear people say, I know how to eat right, I just don't do it. But what we found is that's actually not true. Most people don't understand the basics of nutrition, and that's what this video series aims to improve. If you look at a lot of the popular diets out there right now, most of them contradict one another. For example, there's a popular diet right now called the carnivore diet, which says you should only eat meat. But if you were to ask a vegan, the one thing you need to remove from your diet to be healthy is meat. On the other hand, you have people who follow a Mediterranean-influenced diet, which is heavy in grains, and you have people that follow a paleo diet, which removes all grains. Another popular diet is the ketogenic diet, which removes all sugar and all carbohydrates. But if you were to ask your doctor, they'd probably tell you a diet low in fat is healthy. So it's not really your fault that you're confused, but this video is going to clear everything up for you. Now, there is somewhat of a genetic component to nutrition, which is why you see people succeed on varying types of diets. But there are some hard and fast rules that we know are true and have been scientifically proven over and over and over again. And the first one of which, the biggest factor in your nutrition, is total calories. That means if you eat more calories than you burn, you're going to gain body weight. If you eat less calories than you burn, you're going to lose body weight. That is an irrefutable scientific fact. Now, I want to point something out really early on before we go forward. I'm not saying eating less is better than eating more. When people hear calories in, calories out, they think, okay, I just need to eat less calories is always better. That's not the case. There's a correct amount of calories that you need to be eating, and if you eat more than that, you're going to have negative outcomes, and if you eat less than that, you're going to have negative outcomes. So the real way to success is eating the right amount of calories. The other thing I want to point out is just because calories are the biggest factor in nutrition doesn't mean the other variables are not important. Where those calories are coming from, the macronutrients and micronutrients that make up those calories are very important. And we're going to talk about that in more depth later on in the video series. Now, one more thing I want to point out before we move forward is that even though proper nutrition is important for no matter what goal you have, the examples used in this video series will be more directed towards people who are looking to lose fat, since the majority of our clients have fat loss as a goal. But all these principles still apply whether or not you're trying to gain muscle or increase athletic performance. It doesn't matter. All these principles will still apply. I highly recommend getting a food tracker app for your smartphone. I prefer MyFitnessPal. There are other popular options for both Android and iPhone, so find one that you like. They all basically work the same. What I like about MyFitnessPal is it has an enormous food database, so usually what you're looking for to track is already in there and you don't have to manually input it. Next thing you're going to need to know is how to track your food and how to read food labels. Every food label has a lot of important information for you on it, including the calories and the macronutrients. Macronutrients are proteins, carbohydrates, and fats. It's worth pointing out that sugar is a type of carbohydrate. So if you saw something that had 30 grams of carbohydrates and 15 grams of sugar, that means 50% of the carbohydrates are coming from sugar. Each macronutrient contains a certain amount of calories. 1 gram of protein has 4 calories in it. 1 gram of carbohydrates has 4 calories in it. And 1 gram of fat has 9 calories in it. For an example, we're going to use this POW high protein bean pasta. This is one of my favorite meals because it's super easy to make, it tastes good, and the macros on it are great. If you were to weigh out 100 grams of this, the nutrition information would be as follows: 360 total calories, 1.5 grams of fat, 62 grams of carbohydrates, 2 of which are from sugar, so very low in sugar, and 25 grams of protein. If you took the 25 grams of protein, added that to the 62 grams of carbs, that comes out to 87 grams, and multiply that by 4, because 1 gram of protein has 4 calories and 1 gram of carbohydrates has 4 calories. We're going to take the 1.5 grams of fat and multiply by 9, because 1 gram of fat has 9 calories. So 1.5 times 9 is about 12.5. and we're going to add that to the 348 calories we already had from the carbs and the protein, and that gives us our 360 calories. Now here's the good news. You don't ever have to do that math yourself. A lot of times people ask, what's more important, the calories or the macros? Technically speaking, the total amount of calories you eat is going to determine whether or not you gain weight or lose weight. But the ratio of macros that you eat is going to determine what type of weight you gain or what type of weight you lose. So you can lose weight by losing body fat, water weight, glycogen. You can also lose weight by losing muscle tissue, which is not ideal. And on the flip side, you can gain weight in muscle, you can gain weight in body fat. So the types of macros that you're eating, the ratio of those macros plays a big role in the type of weight that you lose or the type of weight that you gain. What we often tell people is, if you hit the macro targets that we give you, you will by default have hit the number of calories, because remember, macros contain calories. But before you try to hit the macro targets that we give you, the first thing I want you to do is to track what you are already eating for 3 days. And I want you to do this for 2 reasons. Number 1, you need to get in the habit and practice of tracking. There's a small learning curve. It's pretty simple, but you do need to get better at it, get familiar with the app so you can make it as easy as possible. The second reason is, when people try to change everything about their lifestyle all at once, it usually falls apart and they go back to their old habits. So we want you to change things slowly. Build the habit of tracking, see how far off from your macros you currently are with your current habits, and then it's easier to make small adjustments to get you to your goals. If you totally try to revamp your nutrition overnight, you're going to fail. It's never, ever, ever worked for anyone, so please don't try to do that. Just start by eating what you're already eating on a normal daily basis and track all of it. Everything that has calories in it that you eat, you have to track. It doesn't matter if it's half of a cookie. It doesn't matter if it's half of a glass of milk. If it has calories in it and you put it in your body, you have to track it. You don't need to track water. Water has no calories. You do need to track alcohol. So keep that in mind. Now the great news is, when you use a food tracker, you don't have to do any of the math yourself. All you have to do is look up the item you're eating in MyFitnessPal, or you can actually use their barcode scanner, which is as easy as done. That food is tracked. So that's it for the first installment of our Nutrition Basics video series. I hope that answers some questions for you and made sense. To quickly recap, calories in versus calories out is the most important factor in determining your nutrition outcomes. Macros are second most important. 1 gram of protein has 4 calories in it, 1 gram of carbohydrates has 4 calories in it, and 1 gram of fat has 9 calories in it. If you have hit your target macros for the day, you will have by default hit your total calorie target as well. I'm Tony with Arkitect Fitness, and we'll see you in the next video.